me. But the work is done. It always will be. I am inevitable.
Welcome to the Mr. Screen channel. Marvel's Cancerverse is literally a story that made us reflect that for good to exist, evil must necessarily exist, and even so, sometimes opposites attract and surreal things end up happening, like Thanos being the only option to save all of humanity. This story is truly incredible. Without further ado, let's get straight to the point. The birth of the Cancerverse. In one of the countless timelines of the multiverse, Tony Stark had been resurrected in an unexpected way. After his death, an unlikely fusion between him and Victor Von Doom created something new and dangerous. Dr. Doom Stark, an entity with Tony Stark's superior intellect and Doom's thirst for power and absolute control. With their combined abilities, he began to manipulate the multiverse in search of creating a new kingdom, an empire without death, without limits, the Cancerverse. The Cancerverse was a parallel dimension where death did not exist, and as a result, reality became perverse and distorted. The heroes of this dimension were not the saviors we once knew, but corrupted and evil versions of themselves. Steve Rogers, Captain America, became the Supreme General, a dictator obsessed with order. Thor had become an uncontrollable monster, corrupted by the power of Mjolnir. The Scarlet Witch, with her twisted magic, was now the Queen of Chaos. Even the Guardians of the Galaxy had been transformed into monstrous versions of themselves. Doom Stark ruled the Cancerverse, extending his tentacles into other timelines, seeking to incorporate these alternate realities into his own creation. His plan? To control the multiverse through the unlimited power he believed he could wield, creating an eternal empire where he would be the absolute sovereign. The fall of the heroes. As the Cancerverse advanced, the original versions of the heroes of the Marvel Universe began to be decimated. The Avengers, the X-Men, the Guardians of the Galaxy, they all fell one by one, as their corrupted selves replaced them in the shadows. Panic spread across the galaxies. In a very short time, Tony Stark Doom had infected a large portion of the multiverse, transforming it into his twisted image. The heroes' attempts to stop Stark Doom were all in vain. Stephen Strange, Doctor Strange, attempted to engage the Scarlet Witch of the Cancerverse in combat, but was quickly defeated. Thor, the god of thunder, was captured and corrupted, becoming a weapon in the hands of the General Supreme. Not even the Black Panther, with all his wisdom and advanced technology, could withstand the growing power of Doom Stark. The universe was on the brink of collapse, and it seemed there was no one left to fight it. The unlikely alternative. Amidst the chaos, a figure emerged, perhaps the most unlikely of all alternatives to save the multiverse. Thanos, the Mad Titan, watched from afar, contemplating the consequences of his own quest for power and destruction. The multiverse was out of balance, and though he had redeemed himself in another timeline, he now saw that Doom Stark posed a threat beyond anything he had ever caused. Thanos understood the multiverse in a way few could. He knew that the existence of the Cancerverse represented a rupture in the natural order of things. The universe needed death to thrive, for without it, life had no value. Doom Stark had broken that cycle, and now only someone with Thanos' willpower could restore balance. Even though it would be a nearly impossible task, Thanos accepted the burden. He knew that if he failed, the entire multiverse would succumb to the twisted madness of the Cancerverse. A quest for lost power. Thanos knew that to face Doom Stark, he would need more than his own strength. He would need to reclaim the powers he had once possessed with the Infinity Gauntlet. Although most of the stones had been destroyed, Thanos had discovered a way to access alternate versions of them in other realities. If he could gather these stones again, he would have a chance to defeat Doom Stark. His first stop was the planet Vormir, where an alternate version of the Soul Stone still existed. But to acquire it, he would have to face the Guardian of Vormir, who in this timeline was not the Red Skull, but an ancient and powerful entity known as the Silent Watcher. Thanos fought a fierce battle, but eventually managed to subdue the Guardian and acquire the stone. With the Soul Stone in hand, Thanos began to search for the others, traveling through realities destroyed by the Cancerverse, facing corrupted versions of the heroes he had once faced. Each fight was a painful reminder of his own actions, and each victory, a reminder that he now fought for something greater than power. He fought for the very existence of the multiverse. Encountering the old gods, the final stone Thanos needed to find was in a place where not even he dared to go. The realm of the old gods, cosmic entities that had existed since the beginning of time. To obtain the Reality Stone, Thanos would have to negotiate with beings beyond mortal comprehension. Upon entering this realm, he was greeted by the living tribunal, eternity, and death, the entity with whom he had once had a deep relationship. Death looked at Thanos with a mixture of anger and longing, and he knew that his return to her would not be so simple. "You seek the reality stone?" the entity Death asked, her voice echoing like the wind in the graves of 1,000 civilizations. "Why, Thanos? What drives you now? Power? Glory? Destruction? Redemption?" Thanos replied, his voice firm. "I seek to restore the cycle that Doomstark broke. The universe needs balance, and you know that more than anyone." Eternity and the living tribunal looked to Death, waiting for her answer. Finally, she nodded. "You will have the stone," Death said. "But know, Thanos, that even if you win, your fate will be forever tied to mine." With the reality stone in hand, Thanos was finally ready to face Doomstark. The final showdown. Doomstark, aware of Thanos' approach, prepared himself on his throne in the heart of the Cancerverse. He had corrupted all the alternate versions of the heroes, but he knew that Thanos was different. The Mad Titan was no mere pawn to be manipulated. He was a seasoned warrior whose willfulness could rival Doomstark's own will. "You have come far, Thanos," Doomstark said, watching the Titan's imposing figure approach. "But you cannot win. I am the creator of a new order, one where death does not exist and power is absolute." "You do not understand, Stark," Thanos replied, his voice reverberating through the distorted space around them. "The universe needs death. Without it, life has no meaning. You may have created this Cancerverse, but I will destroy it." With the alternate Infinity Stones glowing in his gauntlet, Thanos attacked. Doomstark, manipulating the distortions of time and space, fought back, creating shadow versions of fallen heroes to fight the Titan. Captain America, Thor, Scarlet Witch, they all appeared, but their souls were corrupted by the darkness of the Cancerverse. The ensuing battle was epic, with worlds being destroyed and recreated with each blow. Thanos, imbued with the power of the stones, fought not only against Doomstark, but against the twisted nature of the Cancerverse itself. Doomstark, on the other hand, was determined to keep his empire intact and showed no signs of weakening. Doomstark's trap. As Thanos and Doomstark continue their epic battle for control of the multiverse, the Mad Titan believed that the use of the Infinity Stones would be enough to reverse the imbalance caused by the Cancerverse. The stones were in his possession, glowing with cosmic energy, ready to be used to rewrite reality and restore the balance that Doomstark had destroyed. However, Thanos did not realize the true depth of Doomstark's cunning. During the battle, Stark was not only defending his twisted empire, but also laying an intricate trap. With his vast intelligence, Stark had studied the Infinity Stones in depth, developing a way to manipulate their energy to his advantage. As Thanos attempted to harness the power of the stones to rewrite the fabric of the Cancerverse, he felt an unexpected resistance. The stone's glow began to dim, and he realized too late that reality around him was shifting erratically. The Cancerverse, rather than being undone, began to react violently, bending and expanding. "Did you really think you could defeat me with the stones?" Doomstark said, his cold, contemptuous voice echoing through the distorted dimension. "I knew you would try to use them against me, so I created a trap within the stones. Now you are trapped here, forever." Thanos looked at the stones in his gauntlet, realizing that they had been corrupted. Doomstark, with his knowledge of the multiverse and the magical science he mastered, had implanted a trap within the stones, permanently binding Thanos to the Cancerverse. The stones were now useless to him. Their energy was being redirected to power the Cancerverse itself, strengthening it and trapping Thanos in a dimension that was a warp of reality. Before Thanos could react, Doomstark disappeared into a portal, leaving behind a victorious laugh. He had used the chaos of the battle to escape to another timeline, where he could continue his plans of conquest in a new universe, while Thanos was trapped in the twisted vastness of the Cancerverse. Thanos' lone struggle now trapped in the Cancerverse, Thanos found himself facing a twisted, hellish reality. The Cancerverse, without Doomstark to directly control it, became even more chaotic and unpredictable. Corrupted versions of the heroes of the multiverse began to multiply, emerging as twisted, evil shadows, attacking Thanos from all sides. Without the Infinity Stones, Thanos was forced to rely solely on brute strength and cunning. He fought the relentless aberrations of the Cancerverse, an endless horde of evil versions of the heroes he knew. The corrupted Captain America, now the Supreme General, led a legion of zombie soldiers, while Thor, in his twisted form, rained thunder and devastation upon the chaotic wasteland. Even the Scarlet Witch, with her chaotic power amplified, became a constant threat. Every battle was a fight for survival, but Thanos, the Mad Titan, was a warrior like no other. He was driven by a new purpose, not destruction as in the past, but the desire to restore balance and eliminate the Cancerverse, the cancer that now threatened the entire multiverse. The thought of being trapped forever in this hellish dimension only fueled his determination. He knew that somehow he would have to reverse Doom Stark's trap and find a way to escape. Thanos' resistance. As he fought to survive, Thanos began to better understand the nature of the Cancerverse. He realized that while the Infinity Stones were corrupted and useless to him, there was still a way to influence this twisted dimension. The Cancerverse was, at its core, a corrupted reflection of reality, and thus still followed some basic rules of the multiverse. Thanos began to study his surroundings, realizing that the Cancerverse was fueled not just by the absence of death, but by the corruption of life. He theorized that if he could find the core of this corruption, he could reverse the process. Perhaps if he could destroy the heart of the Cancerverse, he could bring the entire dimension crashing down, weakening it enough to escape or even destroy Doom Stark in his next move. He traveled through the deepest reaches of the Cancerverse, encountering increasingly twisted versions of the heroes he had known. Each encounter brought him closer to a fundamental truth. The Cancerverse was not a pure creation of Doom Stark, but an anomaly that existed in the multiverse long before Stark had mastered it. Stark had simply shaped it to his own ends, harnessing its power and amplifying its corruption. The return of Galactus. As Thanos continued his solitary struggle, a familiar figure appeared on the distorted horizon of the Cancerverse. Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds, whom Thanos believed had been destroyed or corrupted by the Cancerverse, now stood before him, but not in the way he had expected. This Galactus was a shadow of his former self, corrupted by the absence of death, yet powerful nonetheless. Galactus was no longer a devourer of worlds, but a ravenous entity that fed on the very twisted existence of the Cancerverse. He had been absorbed into this dimension, becoming a blind force of destruction, without purpose or control. Thanos knew that to escape, he would have to confront Galactus and his insatiable hunger. The ensuing battle was one of the most intense Thanos had ever faced. Galactus, even corrupted, was a cosmic entity of unimaginable power. He unleashed waves of energy that distorted reality itself around Thanos. But the Mad Titan, driven by his unwavering determination, used his experience and knowledge of the multiverse to resist. Eventually, Thanos realized that Galactus was no longer a sentient mind, but a blind destructive force. Using his superior strength and cunning, Thanos was able to divert Galactus' energy back at himself, causing a devastating explosion that reverberated throughout the Cancerverse dimension. Galactus was defeated, his twisted body finally consumed by the very Cancerverse he had helped nurture. The journey continues with Galactus defeated. Thanos had a brief moment of peace, but he knew his fight was far from over. Doom Stark was in another timeline, preparing his next move, and Thanos remained trapped in a Cancerverse, racing against time to find a way to escape. He could feel the corrupted versions of the heroes beginning to regroup and new aberrations emerging from the shadows. Thanos knew that if he didn't escape soon, the Cancerverse would consume him. "You may have fled Doom," Thanos said, looking up at the distorted sky, "but I will find you again. And this time, I will be prepared." Thanos' journey was far from over, but he knew it was the only hope to restore balance to the multiverse. Alone, facing a universe of horrors, the Mad Titan would continue his fight, determined to defeat Doom Stark and save reality, even if it meant sacrificing everything. While Doom Stark plotted his dominion over new realities, the Titan was ready to pursue his redemption to the end, and this time, nothing could stop him. Time works in Thanos' favor. In another timeline, Doom Stark was confident of his victory. He believed that Thanos was forever trapped in the Cancerverse, but he didn't know that the Titan was slowly understanding the secrets of this twisted dimension. Thanos wasn't just a warrior. He was a strategist, patient, and ruthless. The Cancerverse was still a prison, but Thanos was finding ways to bend it to his will. And when he escaped, and he knew he would, Doom Stark would face a force he had never imagined. The final battle was yet to come, and the universe was about to witness the return of the true Mad Titan. The awakening of Thanos. The vastness of the universe was silent, but in the midst of its immensity, something was about to happen. In a hidden castle in the mountains of Latveria, an emerald glow broke through the darkness. There, surrounded by advanced technology and mystical artifacts, Dr. Doom finished one of the most dangerous and audacious rituals of his career. Victor Von Doom, now known as Doctor Doom, had become a force beyond what any being on Earth could conceive. Having assumed the mantle of Doctor Doom from a different timeline, he no longer sought just power, but the complete manipulation of the multiverse. In his twisted mind, everything must be under his control for there to be order. And to achieve this, he needed someone who had once defied the gods themselves and wreaked havoc across all realities. Thanos, the Mad Titan, had been defeated and killed in the original timeline, but Doom, with his vast knowledge, knew exactly how to bring him back. With a snap of his fingers, he completed the ritual, and Thanos' once-destroyed body began to regenerate. Thanos awoke with a roar that echoed across the mountains and the very fabric of the universe. He stood tall, his eyes glowing a deep purple, confused and furious. Across from him, Dr. Doom regarded him with a cold gaze. "Thanos," Doom said calmly, "you have a second chance. A chance to right what you have failed." The Titan looked around, feeling the weight of his resurrection. He remembered it all, his defeat, his death, and the emptiness that followed. But now he was back in the world of the living, pulled from the abyss by the one watching him from above. "Why me?" Thanos asked, his voice low and dark. "You still have a role to play, Thanos," Doom replied. "A purpose. But this time, you will not do it alone. You will follow my orders, or you will return to nothingness." Thanos, who had once carried the weight of the universe in his hands, looked at Doom and felt a wave of contempt. He, the Mad Titan, would obey no one. He had sought his own vision of peace and balance, and had failed. But his redemption would not be at Doom's side. Being a pawn in another being's game was not his destiny. With a swift, unexpected movement, Thanos struck. His punch, charged with a force that transcended the universe itself, hit Doom square in the chest, slamming him against the castle walls. Before Doom could react, Thanos advanced, breaking the enchantments that imprisoned him. Dr. Doom stood up, his armor cracked in places but still intact. He snapped his fingers, activating a force field around Thanos, trying to contain him. "Do you really think you can run from me?" Doom sneered, his voice reverberating in the air. But Thanos was no longer interested in fighting. With a determined look in his eyes, he used what little power he still had and, in a flash of energy, disappeared, escaping Doom's castle and tyranny. The search for redemption, Thanos wandered the galaxies. Without the Infinity Stones, without the absolute power he once possessed, he became a wanderer, an exile from his own destiny. But something inside him had changed. He saw peace. Not the peace imposed by the eradication of half of life in the universe, but an inner peace, a redemption. He passed through desolate planets and ruined solar systems, witnessing the aftermath of cosmic wars, many of which he himself had started. Everywhere he went, he felt the weight of his past actions, but he could not turn back. The only thing left was to move forward. As he traveled, Thanos began to question what peace truly meant. He, the Mad Titan, who believed he was destined to bring balance to the universe, now saw himself as nothing more than a shadow of his former self. But the question that haunted him was, could he truly find redemption? It was during this journey that he sensed a familiar icy presence, the entity of death. The encounter with death. Thanos stood on a desolate planet, its mountains covered in cosmic dust and its waters frozen. It was there that death appeared before him, as she always had, cloaked in her black cloak, her face hidden in shadow. "Thanos," her voice whispered, like the echo of 1,000 lost souls. "Did you think you could escape me?" The Titan looked at her, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and awe. He had loved death, fought for her, killed for her. But now he no longer sought her approval. "I am no longer your servant," Thanos replied, his voice heavy with years of regret. Death laughed softly, a laugh that made reality itself shudder. "You will never cease to be mine. Your search for peace is futile, Thanos. You are destined for destruction. It is in your nature." Thanos clenched his fists, hatred and frustration mingling within him. "I no longer seek destruction. I seek redemption." Death approached, her cold touch passing over Thanos' face. "You cannot run from what you are. The peace you seek can only be achieved through complete eradication. You were born to destroy, Thanos, and you will always be bound to it." Thanos felt the truth in her words. He had tried to escape, but reality was immutable. Death would always have him, always guide him. The peace he desired could only be achieved by ending everything. And so, the Mad Titan began to return to his old beliefs. He did not need the Infinity Stones to fulfill his new purpose. He would serve death in a new way, eradicating not only life, but the very essence of the universe. Doom's target, while Thanos found new purpose in his servitude to death, Dr. Doom was furious. He had underestimated the Mad Titan, and now Thanos was on the loose, a potential threat that could ruin his plans for total control over the multiverse. Doom, with his sharp mind, knew he could not let that happen. He traveled to a distant galaxy, where he found an unexpected ally, Guinnessville, the heir of Marvel, and one of the most powerful beings in the cosmos. Guinness, Doom began as the two stood on a vast space station at the edge of the known universe. You understand what is at stake here, don't you? Guinnessville, his eyes glowing with cosmic energy, regarded Doom suspiciously. You are asking me to trust you, Doom. That is something I never thought I would do. Doom smiled behind his metallic mask. I'm not asking for your trust. I am asking for your help in preventing the destruction of the universe. Thanos is back, and his mind has been corrupted by death once again. He no longer seeks redemption. He seeks the end of everything. Guinnessville frowned. Then why should I help you? You are just as dangerous as he is. Because Guinness, Doom replied coldly, if Thanos follows through with his plan, he won't just destroy the universe. He'll erase all reality. And believe me, that includes yours. Guinnessville pondered for a moment, feeling the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He knew Doom couldn't be trusted, but he also knew that when it came to Thanos, the stakes were always too high to ignore. I'll help you find Thanos, Guinness said finally. But don't think that makes us allies, Doom. The return of the Mad Titan as Doom and Guinnessville formulated a plan to track down and stop Thanos. The Mad Titan wandered the far reaches of the cosmos, growing ever more immersed in his new vision. Thanos floated through the darkness of the cosmos, feeling the weight of inevitability on his shoulders. Emptiness surrounded him, but within him, a maelstrom of emotions and decisions swirled. Death's words echoed in his mind. He could not escape his nature. The purpose he had thought he had abandoned now seemed clearer than ever. But this time, it would not be the mad quest for the Infinity Stones or absolute power. The path to peace would be complete eradication. And yet, Thanos felt an emptiness, something he could not name. Perhaps it was the remnants of his failed attempt at redemption. Perhaps it was the secret wish that there was another way to achieve balance. As the Titan wandered the cosmos, his destiny took him to the edge of a distorted nebula where the very fabric of reality was fraying. It was there, at this threshold of incomprehensible forces, that he encountered something, or rather, someone. The Silver Surfer appears. Suddenly, a flash of silver broke through the void, and the Silver Surfer appeared, astride his gleaming surfboard. His expression was serious, and his eyes, filled with cosmic knowledge, focused directly on Thanos. Mad Titan, the surfer's voice boomed like thunder. I see you walk the stars once more. But this time, your journey will be no different. I will not allow you to wreak havoc once more. Thanos, his voice deep and calm, replied, I do not seek the same ambitions as before, Surfer. I am no longer the bearer of the stones. Now I am at peace with the end I seek. Death has shown me my true purpose. The Silver Surfer frowned. He knew Thanos' motivations well, and even more so, the Titan's insane love for death. And it troubled him deeply. You do not understand, Thanos. Every time you seek this twisted peace, millions of lives suffer. Your vision of balance brings only pain and destruction. I cannot allow this to continue. Thanos clenched his fists, his eyes burning with silent rage. You never understood, Surfer. The universe needs balance, and only I can bring it. Without another word, the Surfer attacked. He launched a blast of cosmic energy toward Thanos, who skillfully dodged it, using his colossal strength to counterattack. An epic confrontation began to unfold between the two. The force of each blow between Thanos and the Silver Surfer reverberated through the cosmos, distorting space and time around them. The Surfer's power, reinforced by his connection to Galactus, was a match for Thanos' immense physical and strategic power, even without the stones. During the fight, however, something strange began to unfold within Thanos. He was not just fighting the Surfer. He was fighting himself. The desire for peace, the promise of redemption, the call of death, all of it collided within him. And in the midst of this turmoil, he made a decision. Thanos steals the Silver Surfer's board. Amidst the chaos of the battle, Thanos made a risky and cunning move. Using all his strength and dexterity, he managed to grab the Surfer and, in one swift movement, disarmed him, ripping the silver board from his control. The board was more than just a vehicle. It was an extension of the surfer's cosmic power. And now it was in Thanos' hands. With this, Thanos said, "I can go beyond the limits of any being in the universe." The surfer, without his board, fell into the depths of space. Even without it, he was still powerful, but the loss of his connection to his source of power left him vulnerable. Before Thanos could use the board for his own purposes, a colossal roar echoed through the void. An immense glow, more powerful than anything Thanos had ever faced, appeared in the distance. Galactus, the devourer of worlds, had arrived. The wrath of Galactus. Galactus, the cosmic entity whose insatiable hunger for planets was legendary, would not remain indifferent to the attack on his herald. Upon seeing Thanos holding his Silver Surfer's board, the devourer of worlds became enraged. "Thanos!" Galactus' voice echoed like cosmic thunder, reverberating throughout all the nearby galaxies. "You dare challenge the power of a herald of mine? Punishment will be swift and final." Thanos, despite all his strength and cunning, knew that a direct confrontation with Galactus would be dangerous, even for him. However, he showed no fear. Holding the board with one hand, he stared at the immense figure of the devourer. "I do not fear your wrath, Galactus," Thanos replied coldly. "I seek balance. And you are one of the threats to the multiverse that must be confronted." But Galactus was not an entity to bow to rhetoric. Without further ado, he fired a wave of immense energy, a power that could obliterate an entire solar system, directly at Thanos. The Titan, feeling the immense power coming his way, used the Silver Surfer's board to escape. The board, being an extension of cosmic power, allowed him to move with incredible speed, fleeing Galactus' devastating attack. But escape was not enough for Thanos. He was caught between two dilemmas: confront an immeasurable force like Galactus, or continue his search for the peace that death had promised him. The escape and the new doubt. Thanos escaped, crossing dimensions with the board in hand, but his heart was in turmoil. The board glowed in his hands, a weapon of immeasurable power, but it did not fill the emptiness he felt. He was no longer sure of his purpose. He had met death, talked to her, and she had planted in his mind the seed of a new mission of destruction. However, as he wandered the galaxies with a stolen board, Thanos realized that even if he followed his former purpose, he would still be just a piece on the cosmic chessboard. As he sailed through space, he sensed a familiar presence: Dr. Doom. Though he hadn't realized it, Thanos had returned to where it all began, to Doom's castle in the heart of Latveria. Doom was waiting, as if he knew the Mad Titan could not escape the eternal cycle of power and destruction. "Welcome back, Thanos," Doom said, his voice like soft thunder. "You fled, but you were always destined to return." Thanos, exhausted, looked at Doom with disdain. "I am no longer interested in your games, Doom. I seek something you cannot understand." Doom smiled behind his metallic mask. "Peace, perhaps?" "No, Thanos. There is no peace for us. Not for you, nor for me. And in time, you will realize that your place has always been on the side of destruction." Encounter with Guinnessville. Before Thanos could respond, a new figure emerged from the shadows: Guinnessville. Marvel's looked directly at the Mad Titan, bearing with him the responsibility and power of his father. "Thanos," Guinness said, "you have caused enough destruction. You and Doom are driving the multiverse to the brink of collapse." Doom watched silently as Guinness and Thanos exchanged glances. Guinness was prepared to fight, knowing that Thanos was now without the stones and vulnerable. However, the Mad Titan, even without his former power, was still a force not to be underestimated. But to everyone's surprise, Thanos did something unexpected. He dropped the Silver Surfer's board to the ground and took a step back. "I'm tired, Guinness," he said, his voice thick with exhaustion. "I'm tired of destruction, of death, and of the endless pursuit of a purpose I will never achieve." Doom stepped forward. "You have no choice, Thanos. Death will always pursue you. You cannot escape your destiny." "Maybe," Thanos replied, "but maybe I can still try." With those words, Thanos turned his back on Doom and Guinness, ready to disappear once more into the void of the cosmos, perhaps in search of a redemption that he himself knew was impossible. The Silver Surfer retrieved his board and looked at Thanos with a mixture of distrust and compassion. He knew that Thanos' path would never be easy, and that, in the end, there might not be a happy ending for the Mad Titan. But for now, Thanos walked alone, determined to find out for himself if peace was truly possible, even for someone like him. Then, 4 now. And that was our story for today. What did you think of all this? Click the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. Until next time, bye.